Buenos dias. Good morning. I'm Victor Griego, WELL's founder and president. Welcome today to the 8th annual WELL conference. How you all feeling today? Does anyone feel lucky? You know, today is Friday the 13th, so you know we're going to have a successful day. We here at WELL look forward to a wonderful and education online experience with all of you. So buckle up your seatbelts. We're going to have a great 4 hours coming up. Now, many of you know that this conference was scheduled for this past March, but because of COVID-19, it was rescheduled to today and is a virtual experience like most of the activities we do in our public and professional lives. And this morning, I'd like to have a special message, a somber message, by recognizing a very important member of the WELL family who fell victim to the coronavirus. San Joaquin City Council member Jose Ornelas passed away because of COVID-19 this past summer. Councilmember Ornelas was an active member of WELL. He was also a fellow in our inaugural class of WELL Untapped. WELL salutes Jose and his family and all other victims of the COVID-19 virus here in the United States and throughout the world. And we also look forward to a quick arrival of the vaccine so we can all get together in person soon and continue doing the work we do best in person. But for now, we'll be doing more of our education and trainings online. As a matter of fact, WELL has coordinated 2 webinars this past summer and is planning to have 5 more next year, beginning in January with the County Sanitation District of Los Angeles on recycle strategies in Southern California. Many of you today have been involved with WELL over the past 8 years, and some of you might be your first experience with WELL. I especially want to recognize how we have folks elected November 3rd attending today's conference even before they are sworn into elected positions. For example, Councilwoman-elect Teresa Acosta in Carlsbad and Western Municipal Water Director-elect Fauzia Rizvi. Congratulations to all new and re-elected attendees this morning. And so to all of you, welcome and thank you for your continued interest in making sure California has a more resilient and equitable water supply. I also like to share a special note here at WELL. WELL believes anyone who represents a Latino constituency is a Latino leader. So that means most elected officials in California can be a Latino leader in our eyes. Many folks have asked us, so why is WELL important? WELL was created to educate and train a population that is 40% Latino in California and less than 2% in the state's water profession. With recent droughts and climate change upon us, it is important for elected political leaders to be aware of the important water challenges our state faces over the next 20 to 30 years. Those challenges range from maintaining a robust water infrastructure to the rising cost of clean and safe water. And others ask why we recruit local Latino leaders. Well, we have a 3-part answer for that. First, local elected officials are the closest to the people. They are the eyes and ears for state and federal elected officials. For example, you all local electeds, you help your local residents interpret the water rate hikes, the construction projects that dig up their streets in their neighborhoods, the brown water that might be coming out of their kitchen or the bathroom faucets, and other important related water issues in your communities. Second, many cities have their own water departments, and council members need to oversee their activities. And other cities have private water providers, and local council members need to understand the relationship with their residents and the company's customers. Actually, they're the same people. And schools, you know, California schools have unsafe chemicals in their water pipes, like lead. And schools also have large playing fields that are perfect for stormwater and runoff. And the water districts, the important local water districts have very few ethnic minorities or women on their board of directors. That is why many of you ran and got elected to these boards. And for example, in the Central Valley, water district elections go uncontested because there's no interest from candidates. Yet critical water issues remain unresolved in these communities. And most of these communities have populations of low-income people of color. Finally, many of you go on to other elected offices. For example, past well participants have been U.S. Congressmember Nanette Barragan, California State Assembly members Mike Gibson and Eduardo Garcia, State Senator Bob Archuleta, and our own California State Assembly Speaker, Anthony Rendon. Now, let me add a special message by acknowledging some very important people. First, the people who made this possible. This virtual conference is led by WELL's program manager, Brianne Logasa, who many of you have been in contact with over the last 3 or 4 months. WELL board member Miguel Luna and WELL's executive director, Alma Marquez. I also want to acknowledge the WELL board of directors. We are a nonprofit organization, and our board members are Miguel Luna, a principal at Urban Semillas, Tony Estremera, Valley Water Board member in Santa Clara County, Carmen Ramirez, a newly elected member of the Ventura County Board of Supervisor and currently a former member of the Oxnard City Council, Tony Reyes Uranga, former councilwoman for the city of Long Beach, Diana Mahmoud, council member in the city of Pasadena, Irais Lopez Ortega, City Calistoga council member. Now, before I close this morning, I want to just leave you with a closing thought. This morning, many of us, if not all, took a shower, made coffee, breakfast, or drank a cup of water with our daily vitamins or medicines. And we had all that with clean and safe water from our home faucets and water pipes. But we also know that today in California, 1 million residents still do not have access to clean and affordable water in their homes and communities. By all of us today being on this webinar conference, we show and act on our commitment to a just and equitable water policy for all Californians. So as we move through the conference today, let's remember those 1 million neighbors without clean and affordable water. Again, I acknowledge your participation today as a sign of your commitment to a more resilient and equitable water supply for all Californians. I'll now introduce our Mistress of Ceremony to get the conference going. Today's Mistress of Ceremonies is WELL's new Executive Director, Alma Marquez. Alma is a very special person and has done a fabulous job since July 2019. You would have met Alma in March if it was not for the COVID-19. She comes to WELL with a distinguished career in public service, working in government for 12 years and the nonprofit sector for 4 years. She's a wonderful and loving mother of 3 children and the daughter of a proud and hardworking immigrant family. Alma, take it away.
Thank you, Victor. Welcome everyone to our virtual 2020 conference. First, I want to acknowledge our sponsors and say thank you for believing in our mission and allowing us to continue to move forward. I would also like to acknowledge our 3 associate members who have committed to supporting all of our programs this year: Valley Water, Water Replenishment District, and Metropolitan Water District. Please visit their tables during our lunch break today to learn more about their organizations. Now, I would like to introduce our first guest speaker, Supervisor Cindy Chavez from the County of Santa Clara. Supervisor Cindy Chavez is president of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, representing more than 500,000 people in East, Central, and South San Jose. Equity for all communities is a main theme that runs through all of Supervisor Chavez's work in environmental justice, education, law enforcement, her women's agenda, and land use. Supervisor Chavez is responsible for helping to end San Jose's status as the largest city in America without fluoride in its drinking water in disadvantaged areas. She was instrumental in getting money to help install fluoridation equipment in her East San Jose district. When the coronavirus pandemic broke, President Chavez wasted no time jumping into action, helping to negotiate testing sites, ramp up testing, and send timely numbers out to the public, especially in the hard-to-reach communities. She worked with the county's hospitals and healthcare system to equip the frontline coronavirus essential workers with protective gear. She started the county's campaign to have residents get a drive-through free shot clinic at the county fairgrounds. Cindy is married with 1 son who is in college. But to us, she is a friend of WOW. Supervisor Chavez and Victor Griego worked to register over 400,000 ethnic minorities and working class young people to vote back in 1988. Today, they are both still working together to make our state a more just and equitable society. Please join me in welcoming Supervisor Cindy Chavez to our virtual stage.
Alma, thank you. That was so kind. And I'm really excited to be joining all of you virtually. It's our new way of communicating with each other. And I want to say how much I appreciate that WELL is doing this even in these really challenging times. I wanted to just spend a moment to say a very special thank you to Victor. And part of the reason I think that's so critical is that Victor had a vision a long time ago about making sure that elected officials, no matter what our role was, that we were having an opportunity to learn the complexities that are water, which is extremely challenging, as many of you who are joining today know. And I think it's also really amazing that it's helping us think about how to be the best public servants that we can be and getting this opportunity to network with other leaders across the state. So Victor, thank you for your vision for WELL, and Alma, thank you for making it come true. I also just wanted to acknowledge that Tony Estremera is from our county, and I'm really proud to say that he's the person who really has encouraged many elected officials in our community to be part of the WELL family. And to Teresa Alvarado, who's on leading our efforts with SPUR, who's been a leading environmentalist helping us think about water and land and the very best ways that we can use it. So it's an honor to be able to open the conference, and I'll just say to all of you, good morning. I hope you had your coffee and that you're ready to learn and ready to mingle and get to know everybody. Having access to safe and affordable water is not only an issue that affects communities like the 1 million who Victor talked about that we have to rectify, making sure they have access to healthy and clean water, but it really is about the future of the state of California and more globally. As we look at climate change, I don't think there are topics that are more important than these right now before us. So, being a representative from a community that's pretty disadvantaged, I just wanted to also say that we worked really hard here to make sure that we can have fluoride available in our water, and working with the Valley Water District here and our water companies, we were able to achieve that. But what it really got me thinking about was Senator Bill Monning, who I am a big fan, was and always will be, who's going to be giving you the keynote today. While he'll be leaving the State House at the end of the year, it's not before taking leadership on a whole number of issues, and water being one. He authored California's Senate Bill 200 last year, appropriating $130 million annually to fund the safe and affordable drinking water fund for the next 10 years. You know that Governor Newsom signed this bill with Bill Monning at his side, and also with labor leader and civil rights leader and a mentor of mine, Dolores Huerta, and many co-authors. While the governor committed to taking swift action to address the needs of the million Californians to have access to safe and affordable drinking water, that means exceeds the needs over the next decade of $1.4 billion. And that money will be going to the California's poorest communities, recognizing that this is a human right as well as an environmental justice issue. Lacking of funding has been a culprit, and we're going to have to fight for more funding, as Bill Monning did. I wanted to just close with saying this, that I am really grateful to all of you for being willing to learn more about such an important issue. And I look forward to continuing to work through WELL with this incredible group of leaders that you have assembled. Thank you for letting me join you.
Thank you, Supervisor Chavez, for your remarks. The County of Santa Clara is in good hands with your leadership. Next, I'd like to introduce our keynote speakers, Senator Bill Monning. Senator William W. Monning was elected in November of 2012 and re-elected in 2016 to represent the 17th Senate District, which includes all of San Luis Obispo, Santa Cruz counties, and portions of Monterey and Santa Clara counties. Prior to being elected to the state Senate, he served 4 years in the California State Assembly and served as a Senate Majority Leader from 2015 through 2019. In addition to his work on water issues, Senator Monning has championed children's health, access to healthcare, and climate change. He and his wife reside in Carmel, California, and have two daughters and three grandchildren. Now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Senator Monning to our virtual stage.
Well, good morning, and I think we're connected, and thank you, Alma, for the nice introduction, and also special thanks to my good friend, Supervisor Cindy Chavez, and for her great leadership in Santa Clara County for so many years. I also want to thank Brianne for her work getting us connected and organizing, and then a special Victor Griego for his vision and leadership. We had a chance to chat just briefly a little while ago and identified some common roots working with the United Farm Workers Union, which was certainly perhaps the best training ground I've ever had in the art and science of organizing. I also want to acknowledge on the call and on your board, now Supervisor Carmen Ramirez, who I had the honor of working with when we were both attorneys with California Rural Legal Assistance, and to all of you who joined today and who more importantly provide your leadership every day, both as local electeds, and I know we have members of water boards, elected water boards and districts, and that this network opportunity can only help grow a louder voice in California for the shared vision and commitment to the human right for water. Cindy mentioned that at the cornerstone of our Senate Bill 200 was building on the state legislature's finding that the right to clean, safe drinking water is indeed a human right, not a privilege, but a right. And as Victor mentioned, over 1 million Californians still don't have the ability to turn on the tap and get safe, clean drinking water. I also want to acknowledge the support of Governor Gavin Newsom, who from the day of his inauguration, his inaugural speech, he mentioned his commitment to our efforts with Senate Bill 200, and he maintained that commitment right through to the signing of the bill. I also want to, I'm going to focus just a little bit on how we were able to build the momentum to pass Senate Bill 200 and find the funding that, as was mentioned, will be about $1.4 billion over the next 10 years. That'll be administered by the State Water Board, but it will still be incumbent upon communities, disadvantaged communities, to apply for that support and to build the necessary infrastructure, political infrastructure, communication to secure that funding and support. No doubt, the way we were successful was in the broad coalition, particularly of grassroots organizations and community organizers who for years had traveled to Sacramento, buses leaving at 3 and 4 in the morning from the Central Valley, as far away as the Coachella Valley, coming to Sacramento month after month, year after year, to meet with legislators and staff and people in the governor's office to build support and make it impossible for people to vote against our Senate Bill 200, which in the end did win broad bipartisan support. So let me just quickly acknowledge some of the organizations and leaders who were essential success. The Community Water Center, a shout out to Susana de Anda, the Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, Clean Water Action, the Water Foundation, the Next Gen Policy Group, Western Growers Association, the Ag Council of California, Rural County Representatives of California, and as Cindy mentioned, Dolores Huerta, who at the time at age 88 was visiting us regularly in Sacramento and visiting one-on-one with different legislators to win their support for our legislation. And it was great that Dolores was able to join us at the signing ceremony outside of Sanger near Fresno in the community called Tombstone, that still to this day doesn't have safe, clean drinking water, but which will be soon linked to the Sanger water supply and have clean, safe drinking water. I think the takeaway or moving forward, many of you come from backgrounds, you're now local electeds, but you got there as community organizers, as activists, and more, I think we need to approach our role in elected office as organizers. Most of my career was spent as an activist, as a lawyer with the UFW, with CRLA, working on pesticide cases, human rights issues in Central America, but we were always knocking on the door of elected officials. And then as I became an elected official, as you became elected officials, there's pulls in a lot of directions. There's balancing acts. There's the art of compromise in politics. But at the core, it's my belief that to succeed as an elected, the ingredients are close contact with the people that helped to elect you, maintaining regular contact with grassroots organizations and broadening that to other sectors of business, water districts, etc., and then approaching what it is you're trying to do in your jurisdiction. And if it's a water issue, identifying clearly what's the objective, what's the preferred outcome, how would you measure success? That's the goal. And then it's an organizing campaign to get there. In the organizing campaign, there's no shortcuts. It's engaging people, it's having accountability, and it's being persistent. And that was the persistence shown by our water coalition, the Community Water Center, the Leadership Council, Clean Water Action, and the others that I mentioned, who never gave up. They kept coming to Sacramento, knocking on doors. Dolores Huerta, at age 88, went to an assembly member's office and was told in the waiting room that the assembly member did not have time in her schedule to meet with Dolores Huerta. And Dolores Huerta said, I'll wait until she can meet with me. And she stayed in that reception area for about 2 hours and then was escorted in to meet with that member. That's the type of persistence. And somebody as renowned as Dolores Huerta, it just boiled down to persistence and not taking no for an answer. So as we move forward, as you all move forward, I think the art and science of organizing remains paramount to your work, the discipline in your work, the responsibility to constituents. I did share with Brianne, and it's a short, simple 10-point approach to successful advocacy, probably more directed to grassroots groups and community organizers, but I think there's many elements in there that can also inform the work of electeds, local electeds engaging with county electeds, engaging with state and federal electeds. It's all organizing. So I know you have a ambitious schedule today, and as you move forward, I just want to close by thanking you all for this wonderful opportunity to join you. I'm so honored to be included in this conference. I too wish it were face-to-face, but we'll look forward to that opportunity in the future. And I will turn back to Alma and say gracias por su liderazgo y adelante a todos. Mil gracias. Ciao.
Thank you, Senator Monning, for spearheading this important legislation. We actually talked quite a bit about your legislation during our While Untapped program, Cohort 1, and we're glad to hear it is now law. And thank you for reminding everyone about the importance of advocacy work and how we have great leadership, and Dolores Huerta for still being a role model, reminding us to fight the good fight and do the good work.